Well, welcome, Dr. Case. Thank you so much for finding a time to hop on a call with me. It's been crazy towards the end of the summer here to find a time that we could both just even connect for 20 minutes. But I just want to say thank you and do a quick introduction of you. So, Dr. Case, you graduated from University of Minnesota back in 2020, of all years to graduate dental school in 2020. Congrats to that. And then you joined Imagine Smiles at the very beginning of 2021.
July 2020. Yep.
2020. Yeah. Sorry. July 2020. Getting my dates all mixed up now. And so I just wanted to hear, because dentist, it wasn't formally Dentist Partner Pros back then. It was field consulting and stuff like that. But I just wanted to connect with you and just kind of hear from your perspective how the experience was. So if you could just tell me from your view and kind of your side of things, how the hiring process really went.
Yeah, so I mean, coming, my fourth year of dental school, trying to find a job and everything to that nature, it's kind of a scary time at that point because you're trying to find the right fit. And for me personally, I worked with a corporate entity before dental school for a year in kind of the administrative side. And so I'd seen, what can happen with an associate that doesn't necessarily fit right away. It's not, it doesn't always work super well. And so for me, I was really looking for an opportunity that I could see myself growing and being with for a while. Little did I know when I reached out to Dr. Green and asked or inquired about the position, did I know that Bob was going to be a part of the equation. And going through that process was a little more than I expected, just in terms of the amount of conversations that we had, formal interviews, non-formal interviews, and just the amount of detail-oriented vetting that Bob did. And it was, for me, I'm an analytic, so I was thoroughly impressed with that aspect of things, just because I could tell that this Dr. Green was also looking for the right fit. Wasn't just looking for somebody to come and, put numbers on a sheet and do dentistry for him at his practice. So that got me even more excited as I started the process and was working through it. Little did I know, after a couple assessments, DISC and everything to that nature, what Bob was doing was creating that person that that Dr. Green was looking for his practice. Luckily for me, I fit a lot of those criteria. I think that one thing that I really appreciated about the process too was it wasn't just a speed date and hire. It was getting to know me as a person, and getting to know what made me that person. There's a lot of background information and stuff like that as well that through our conversations, prompted me to feel a lot more comfortable sharing through the process and everything of that nature too. So it was a longer process. I held out on some other opportunities through that process because I knew going through this that this was what I wanted, and it worked out for me. So
yeah, great. I know we poor candidates that come to us, it's like we make you jump through 500 hoops. But based on kind of what you're explaining to me, is that process wasn't just helpful for the practice as far as vetting, it was also helpful for you to maybe clarify what you're actually looking for as far as what your actual right fit looked like. Being able to go through some of those conversations, even though there's a lot of them and there's lots of steps to jump through, seems like it helped you to have more confidence knowing that this was the right opportunity for you as well. Is that am I reading that right?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where, as a dental student, right, you got lots of loans. You're looking for a job that, for some people, maybe just coming out of school, what's the best opportunity that you can get? For me, I was looking for something a little bit more long term, or something that I felt comfortable going into, because it's one of those it's one of those things. It's, you know, you stay for people and you leave for people, right? And so it's one of those things that feeling comfortable in your job, you know, that's an important aspect for me. So
yeah. What do you think, if I could go off script just a little bit, because I'm curious, a lot of dental students and younger professionals in their career are maybe unsure about joining into a private practice. And I think part of that is because, they have these student loans that they're carrying on their shoulders, and there's this stress of, man, is a private practice really is it gonna provide the opportunity and the consistency and the reliability and all those things that maybe like a DSO is over here promising? What helps you to clarify, like, I really do want to go private practice compared to jumping on the DSO bandwagon, if you will?
No, I mean, I think it's one of those that the DSO bandwagon, I'll be honest, as a dental student, it does sound good. They promise you guaranteed money, promise you things here and there. I personally was looking for growing something that I could put my name on, or kind of my stamp on, and doing things a little bit different, just because there's a lot more flexibility with private practice in regards to how you want to run your practice. And yes, I kind of wanted to take on the initiative of being a business owner in the future. And that was kind of my incentive to lean towards private practice. I also think that, you know, I want to build those connections that private practice has, not just necessarily taking patients in because you accept their insurance or anything to that nature too. Just because I do see that when I was working before dental school, you know, kind of cycled through patients just to kind of get them in and out. And for me, building those lasting relationships and connections that I've seen Dr. Green make over the last 20 years, it's everything that I envision myself doing in the future. And that's one of the reasons why I went into dentistry to start. So.
Yeah, I love that. And so looking back, you know, we're 2022, you've been with a practice for what, 2 years now, a little over 2 years. How do you feel about the opportunity now since you've been able to join Magic Smiles? How do you feel about that?
I wouldn't trade it. I've really enjoyed my time so far, just in terms of I came into a practice that was ready for an associate. They let me hit the ground running, and I've only picked up the pace from there, in terms of becoming a better doctor, becoming better at, you know, connecting with patients and building those relationships. You know, it takes a couple visits for patients to trust you sometimes, especially right out of school. And luckily I came into a practice, like I said, that Dr. Green has created, you know, relationships over the last 20 years that they trusted him in bringing me on due to, you know, the process that he went through to find an associate too. And from there, with my new patients and stuff as well, growing and developing those relationships over the last few years has really made me very happy. I've also, you know, the opportunity at Imagine, I've grown a lot in 2 years. The opportunities to, you know, get a little bit of mentoring from Dr. Green, and then also doing continuing education, you know, just building on my skills, has made, as the clinical stuff gets easier, it makes the patient focus, relationship building, that much more on the forefront for me. So it's been a very good process. Yeah,
I love it. You hit on a few key points that I'd love to just like reiterate. You said, one, that you came into a practice that was ready for you, and something that maybe people that will watch this don't fully understand is, from our side, as far as Dentist Partner Pros, we actually vet every single practice before we say you're ready for an associate. We're looking for, you know, 15, 17 things that say they have a practice within a practice and are capped at what they can do unless they bring on another clinical partner. And so that like transition and getting you busy, whether it's you or you're looking to go to another practice through Dentist Partner Pros, it's the same process because they've been vetted and the practice is ready for another doctor. The other thing that you said was it takes time for patients to accept you. And something that we do as part of our agreement with the practice is we actually help provide training on how to build patient trust. So the fact that this Dr. Green was supporting you was part of our training and education of teaching the staff and the team, here's the certain words that we want to use in order to build patient trust. And we actually provide that training and do things to help make it as smooth as possible. But at the end of the day, you're still the one that's chairside. You're still the one interacting with the patients, and you still have to put forth the effort to actually build rapport and build trust. However, we're going to do everything we can to help set you up for success. So I thought those were a few fascinating points I just wanted to kind of reiterate. So we'll take it kind of full circle now. Tell me about how you have felt and what the experience has been like having Bob kind of involved in the process since you've joined. How has that helped with anything?
Yeah, I mean, I think working in a busy practice there are certain days that Dr. Green and I, we don't even see each other. We're just consistently moving. And it's nice, we do get together and we talk almost every day at the end of the day, just to see how things went and everything. I mean, we still do it. Obviously now, 2 years down the road, it's a little bit different than when it started. But having, especially that first year, having you guys invested in terms of having sit-down meetings and everything too, some clarification and mentoring opportunities that can be brought up and talked about a little more in-depthly it's nice to have those meetings so that we can do that. It's also nice to kind of see, and one thing that I love that Bob did to start was, talked about progression as well. How am I doing as a doctor? And there are opportunities where it's not necessarily like, a year review or anything like that. It's monthly to 3 monthly. Dr. Green has the ability to, talk with me in terms of where he wants me to go and everything of that nature too. I personally I like constructive criticism in terms of I want to better myself. I want to be the best version of myself. And so for me, that was nice to kind of get, especially starting. I mean, as a brand new dentist, like they say, you do more dentistry in your first month out of dental school than you did in dental school. So it's one of those things that, getting out and actually, practice dentistry, right? You're only getting better. And for me, building my kind of repertoire as a dentist, that was super helpful. And it kind of just goes to, also back to reiterating what Bob, those meetings, it is just being open and honest with each other too, honest communication in terms of what expectations are from my perspective as well. Because I feel like, yes, there's expectations for, a new clinical partner coming in and working and doing that. However, as the new person, the expectations of this whole process being met from my perspective as well, in terms of what does the new patient flow look like? What does, treatment planning and everything, how does that kind of work together as well? Just because everybody treatment plans a little different, but you want to be on the same page as much as possible, just so that you don't have two very distinct, you want to kind of mesh a little bit. So that was also a really helpful aspect of things.
Yeah, I know a lot of younger associate doctors, especially, their fear is, and they've probably heard horror stories where they've had a friend or a colleague or someone goes and joins a practice and they're promised all this mentorship, and then you get busy and it never happens. And so it becomes this kind of passive aggressive communication, and you're not getting actual feedback. And that happens all the time, especially in dentistry. And so one thing that we really try to encourage is open, honest communication, clear expectations, but part of what we kind of ask and commit our doctors to is this sort of monthly mentorship, to like making sure it's happening, because we want to make sure that the associates coming in are getting the feedback they need in order to improve. So I love that that's been impactful for you. Well, Dr. Case, thank you so much. This conversation's been very helpful for me, even just to hear from your perspective and the insights that you had. Hopefully another associate doctor that gets to watch this can see kind of what the experience is like and how it might be able to help them. So thank you for that. And I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your weekend.
Awesome. Thank you.